It's time for the interview on France 24. Welcome to Roland Garros, the temple of French tennis. And it's the director of the second Grand Slam of the season welcoming us. Hello.
Hello.
Thank you for welcoming us, Guy Forget. You have one of the most beautiful track records of French tennis. You're the director of this tournament since February 2016. Roland Garros begins this weekend. How do you experience this pressure of the last moments?
Well, it's extremely exciting because every year it's a very special moment for all of us. We work, the teams work throughout the year in order to prepare for the tournament. We are the World Championship on clay. We have almost 500,000 visitors here over the 3 weeks. The qualifying rounds have already begun. Not much is said about the qualifying rounds, but it really is the beginning of the tournament because you have 128 players and 96 women players who come here to be in the main draw. So here we're in the closing stages of preparation. The weather's good.
And the public and the audience this year will discover also a Roland Garros in full modernization.
That's true. We're going to be presenting the updated version, as it were, of the tournament. We have done a lot of work over the past 2 years, but in 2018 it's going to be visible. I don't know whether you've had a chance to walk around Roland Garros, but we're going to have court number 18, which will be our 4th largest court with 2,200 seats. We have the Partners Village. We have the new courts, number 7, number 9, which are the show courts, where there's been an extraordinary atmosphere in the past. We have the Simone Mathieu court, which will be surrounded by glass houses, which won't be finished this year, but will be finished next year. So Roland Garros is extended from east to west, and this will mean it'll be more comfortable to host people.
And inside 2020, 2021, where Roland Garros will be finalized with a roof on top of Le Châtrier court. Guy, among the 4 Grand Slams, Roland Garros is the last one who modernized itself. Why?
Well, the drawback and the advantage is that we're in the center of Paris, unlike Wimbledon or the US Open, which are on the outskirts of the city. And there have been quite a few legal disputes, for example, when we applied for planning permission. This delayed the work, and we've been talking about the roof over the center court for the past 10 years, and it'll only be ready in 2020. So all this has taken a lot of time. We've preserved our charm, our roots. The center court was built in 1928 for the Musketeers, and I think that's the charm of the Roland Garros, that this prestigious tournament has remained here.
Hadn't Roland Garros been modernized, could it have lost its status of Grand Slam?
No, I don't think so. A tournament such as Roland Garros or Wimbledon is part of tennis history. All the top players in the world, Bjorn Borg, Rafael Nadal, Mats Wilander, Yannick Noah, have all become legends at those tournaments, which are legendary tournaments. And now we have to modernize. It's essential. We have been able to do this gradually. We're in good financial health. This has enabled us to reinvest in our infrastructure in order to keep up with the other main tournaments. Now, the specific feature of these 4 Grand Slam tournaments is they're well ahead of all the other ATP tournaments, and it's the kind of tournament that all the players dream of winning.
There'll be also something new for 2020-2021, the night sessions.
Yes, in 2021, that's right. One of the main big problems here, and it's also very frustrating, is that we're not able to meet the demand. There's so many members of the French Tennis Federation, so many aficionados who want to come here, and for security considerations, we can't have more than 36,000 spectators a day. So that means some people are frustrated, they have to stay behind, they watch on TV. But if we have the night session, we will almost double our capacity on centre court, for example, on Philippe Chatrier, where you see the world's top men and ladies players, and we'll be able to catch up with the US Open and the Australian Open, which have been doing this for many years.
Let's talk about the release 2018. Rafael Nadal again is coming in a position of arch favorite, maybe 11th victory here at the Porte d'Auteuil. Who can defeat Rafael Nadal?
Well, I think that really is the key question, because those who've beaten him in the past are either not here
Since 2005, he lost 3 times at Roland Garros.
They're not on top form. I'm referring to, for example, Djokovic, who won everything for 2.5 years and who's had some difficulties. Well, he's doing a bit better over the past 2 weeks, but he's found it difficult to come back to top form. And when you look at his results in Monte Carlo, Rome, Madrid, Rafael Nadal is really the man to beat. And what I find fascinating with Nadal is where does he get that fighting spirit, that passion? We all know how difficult it is to win at Roland Garros. It's the most physically demanding tournament, and in psychological terms as well. So how is he going to manage this? I think the whole of the young generation is going to try to beat him. For example, players like Dominic Thiem, the Austrian player who beat him in Madrid a few weeks ago, Zverev, who really created a lot of problems for him, even though he just managed to beat him.
Does it mean that Dominic Thiem, the Austrian, Zverev, the German, Lucas Pouille, let's talk also about the French, can those players embody the future where you had Mr. Unbeatable like Federer? We were really spoiled. Rafael Nadal, Andy Murray, Novak Djokovic, who are all in their 30-something. Someday we'll have to say goodbye to them. We don't feel like it because they really spoiled us. But this new generation, the Thiem, Zverev, is it a real weight for them?
I don't think it's a burden for them. For them, this represents hope. It's a dream. The players you're referring to are going to replace, clearly, Nadal, Murray, Djokovic, Federer. Now, you're no teenager, you're like me, and at the time you've seen things change over time. You've seen André Agassi, well, maybe, and before that, McEnroe, Borg. These are players who have really given us so much pleasure, so much passion on the centre court. And when they've retired, we've always been worried what would happen afterwards. Would the new generation be able to create the same dream? And it's true that after Courier, Sampras, Agassi, Connors, McEnroe, we had a new generation with Federer, Djokovic, Rafael Nadal that has been an extraordinary generation. So now, of course, we've got accustomed to that, but why should the new generation not give us the same amount of pleasure and enthusiasm? And I think that Roland Garros will lend itself to that.
In the men row, ladies, Serena Williams comes back to Grand Slam. She gave birth to her first child. She's now the former #1. She's today below 400. She won 23 Grand Slams. There is a debate, a polemic. She is not going through the qualifying series, but she will not be top seed in the main draw. Shouldn't we change this rule for all the players, female players, who decide to give birth?
Well, the WTA ranking at present enables these players to take part in the tournament. So Serena Williams, given her ranking, would not be able to compete, neither in the qualifying rounds nor in the main draw. So this protects her, as it were. Now, it's true also that we don't know what her present form is. She hasn't had very good results recently, which is unworthy of such a great champion. So if she is made a top seed and she doesn't have this status as a top seed, that means we're going to penalise another player, a younger player or not so young player, who've been working, fighting all year round to be seeded players. So is it legitimate? Well, it's a question. You're quite right to ask the question. But the good news is that Serena will be here. We know that even on average form, she will beat most of the players in the main draw, even the top seeds. And I think it's the top seeds who are going to be concerned, worried about being drawn to play against Serena.
With the French, what should we expect in this tournament?
Well, looking at the women and men's draw, main draw, those who on paper have the best chance of doing well are Caroline Garcia. She's the #7 player. She's played very well on clay, like Rafael Nadal. And you often see the favourites, you look at them based on their previous results on clay, and clearly it's Caroline Garcia who's been the most consistent. And after Caroline Garcia, maybe Kristina Mladenovic. And then among the men, Lucas Pouille, who's the best seeded player. at the ATP. He's got off to a very good start this season. He won 2 titles, but in previous weeks on clay, he hasn't been playing so well. So will those tournaments have enabled him to really achieve proper form as he comes to Roland Garros? And of course, as you can imagine, we all want him to do really well here. Others have suffered injuries. Tsonga, I'm afraid, won't be with us. He may even miss Wimbledon because he had a knee operation. Gaël Monfils and Richard Gasquet are also having many problems. They've fallen in the rankings to around the number 37 ranking, which doesn't reflect their average form. So I'm like you. I mean, we really want to have faith in these players, and we know that their experience may enable them to do well and maybe to go through to the second week.
One last question. What's your best wish? Would you rather have a Roland Garros without rain or a Roland Garros with a surprise winner?
Well, quite frankly, a Roland Garros tournament without rain, because I remember the difficult moments that we went through in 2016 when we had 2 days where basically no game could be played. You know, we have families who come from the south of France, from the north of France, who come by plane, by train with 4 tickets, let's say. It's a lot of money for them, and when people come here and they can't even see a single rally, it's very frustrating for them. What we do here, after all, we sell dreams, passion. I mean, I remember myself coming from Marseille by car with my coach, and I remember watching Borg, Adriano Panatta, and this was a great source of inspiration for me. And I think whoever raises the trophy will continue to write the history of this tournament, and I think we'll have a wonderful men's champion and a wonderful ladies champion at Roland Garros.
Thank you, Guy Forget, for answering our question. That's it for the interview on France 24, but stay tuned for more news. See you soon.